In this lecture we will see how we can UV unwrap the character for taking it to Photoshop and texture painting it. Once we finish the modeling process, before we start the UV texturing, we will have to clean up this file, meaning that you've got lots of history information, as you can see, that goes down here. So step number 1 is to go to Edit and choose Delete All by Type History, so that it will remove all the history information that is there. Now, if you don't want to have the different colors in different places, you can just UV texture one side, and then when you make a duplicate, it will just maintain the same UVs on the other side, meaning that anything you draw in one side will be shown in the other side. But this is not common for all the cases, because sometimes you might have a cloth that has got a different design in one side and different design in another side. So most of the cases we will have to combine these as one single object, and then we can start the texturing process. So I'll go ahead and combine this by selecting both of them and going to Mesh, Combine, and still just combining is not enough. As you can see, the vertices will be still separated. So all we can do is go ahead and select all this vertex that is in the middle, select all the vertices in the middle, and shift right click and choose Merge Vertex and Merge Vertices. So now you can see that these vertices are just connected properly without any problem. Fine. So now let's go ahead and start to unwrap this in UVs. Let's go ahead and check how the UV layout looks. Let me go to Window and choose UV Texture Editor. So this is just the default UV that came with, so we'll have to change this. I'll go ahead and close this and open the UV Texture Editor as a part of the viewport. So I'll go ahead and choose a 2 viewport layout, so that is perspective and outliner, for example, and instead of outliner we will change this to panels UV Texture Editor. So now we will have both perspective view and UV Texture Editor in the same viewport. Okay, now for checking out we can apply a simple checkerboard. So I'll go to Favorite Materials, Lambert, and I'll open up the Lambert and apply a checker. To make the checker visible here, we can press 6 key. Now let's make sure that we don't have any history information about the merging and stuff. We can go to Edit, Delete by Type, History. So there's no history information anymore. You can also give a name for this if you want. Body geometry or just body. Fine. So let's look at the shape of the character that we have. We can simplify the shape with the help of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 cylinders. So let's begin with the main body. One easier way to make selection is to use this paint selection tool. I'll go ahead and choose a face. I'll make the brush size smaller by pressing B key and clicking and dragging. I think it's too big, I'll make it smaller. Yeah, there you go. Fine. So now all I can do is go to face and just paint out the faces that we want to select. So I'll select everything apart from the hands and the legs. Okay, I can also select this neck area because it is forming the same cylindrical shape. Okay, so that's wonderful. So once that much is done, now we can apply a cylindrical mapping on this. I'll go ahead and press 6 to see the texture. Let's go ahead and choose Create UVs and Cylindrical Mapping. Now, one important thing to keep in mind is the connecting area, that is, in this case, this right edge, right, should be in a place where it should not create any problem for us, meaning that a place that is not going to be mostly used. So in my example, I will choose the back area. So I will just move this a little bit to the side. Okay, so as you can see, the back area, that is this single vertex line, becomes the seam of this mapping. So I'll go ahead and choose that. And we can see how the UV layout looks here. I can click on this face button to disable the material that we've applied. And you can see that it's not actually picking up the center area. I'll just go ahead and move this a little bit to the left. Now there you go. So that's perfect. Okay. Now still you can see that the boxes are not exactly aligned properly. So we can fix this. Now, especially for this particular example, I'm just going to paint some color. So it is not going to be making big differences, but still, just for understanding the UV texturing, we can select all these UVs and try to do a little bit of unwrapping. Now, the unwrapping is being done by Maya through an automatic algorithm. So we can do the unwrapping by going to this option, choosing unfold. Okay, so as you can see, what it does is it basically calculates or tries to compare the vertices that are the UVs that are in between, and tries to give the same equal amount of space that is here in the UV texture. So you can see that this edge that is coming here is not actually matching up with the left side and the right side. So you have to be careful with these areas while you're painting texture. So this area, it is better to have a single color between left side and right side so that it won't show the seam. Otherwise it would show a straight line showing some kind of difference between the two sides. I'll go ahead and choose the UVs, select all of them, go to scale tool, make it smaller so that we can make it fit inside the UV area that we have. I'll have to make it even smaller. So make sure that when you make it smaller, make sure that you're scaling it in both the axes. That's wonderful. So now all I have to do is do the same process repeatedly for the legs and for the hands. So next I will start with the hands. So I'll pick up all these faces. Okay, so that's wonderful. I'll go ahead and apply a planar map, no, sorry, cylindrical mapping. I can also do together for this, I guess. So let's select these. Make sure that you've selected everything. Good. I'll go ahead and choose a cylindrical mapping. So I'll have to rotate this a bit. Select this here, rotate, something like that, 90 degrees. Where is it? Which axis? Okay, there it is. So that's minus 90 or plus 90, whatever it is. And minus 90 is more suitable here because we have to push this down. The connecting seam area can come down. So I'll stretch this out and we'll make sure that the connecting area comes down. I can actually scale this smaller just for visibility's sake. Something like that. And let's do one last thing, that is, let's go to UV, select all these UVs. Now if you're not able to select all the UVs, you can just select one region and control right click and choose to shell. So that will select the whole shell. I'll select this one also, shell. Go ahead and unfold that. Now I hope it works well. Okay, there's a small problem here. Okay, we'll see that. This is basically the area where it is connecting in here. So I have a complete filled in phase inside. I can actually ignore that because that's not going to be visible in the texture. Okay, so I think that looks good. We might have to adjust this one last point. That is this one. So let's say, for example, I select these UVs and we can see where those UVs comes in here. So you can see that these UVs are actually, okay, these UVs, they're supposed to get connected here, but they went here. So we can just manually cut them and move them here. I'll choose edge. Let's click here, so that edge is being selected. Now I can cut this UV so that these UVs would come out. I'll select this UV and control right click to shell, so you can see that it comes out, and I can push this to this other side and connect them. So I'll just rotate it a bit. Okay, now we can also select these edges, and it would actually show us where this edge will go and where this edge will go. So I'll select these two edges and choose this button that's for move and sew UVs, so that will be connected properly. So that's for one hand. I'll go ahead and choose UV, select one, choose the entire shell. Let's go ahead and scale this down to smaller size, try to make it fit in here. Okay, so I'll put one hand here, the other hand here, and the two legs down here. So I'll go ahead and choose the other one, to shell, unfold, unfold mostly gives us good results. Sometimes it may not, so you have to be careful. If it is not working out, you'll have to manually move them. Okay, so I'll go ahead and scale it out just to maintain them. Both of them are maintaining the same size, so go ahead and choose that. And let's finally do for the legs. Choose faces, select all these faces, make sure that you have not selected anything from the other side. I will actually get rid of this bottom ones because they're not going to be visible, and that will avoid a lot of problems. So I'll go ahead and choose create UVs, mapping. Let's try to put the connecting area inside. Okay, and I can also rotate it a bit, so that'll match up better. I'll choose UV to shell and unfold. That's it. I'll try to push it down, make it smaller, and I will rotate it. There you go. Try to put it there. I'll have to make it a bit more smaller. Okay, and the next leg we will keep it on the other side. So let's go ahead and select these faces. Let's get rid of these two, add these two, make sure that everything is selected. No need for these actually. Create UVs, cylindrical mapping. I think that's good enough. Let me pick up. Okay, there's some problem here. I'll have to rotate it a bit like I did for the other side. Okay, there's a little problem here also. Let me see if I can rotate it this way to fix that. Yeah, that's good enough. Let me go ahead and choose UV, select some of them, go to shell and unfold. I will rotate this like so, make it a bit more smaller, try to make it fit inside, something like that. Wonderful. Let me see where these UVs come from. To shell. Okay, so we've got this little inside area. we can apply a simple, we'll choose these two faces actually, and actually we can connect these things to this area. So let me just try to find out where this area is. So you can see that this is here, and that would be connecting to, let me see, here. There it is. So all I can do is pick up these two faces, these two edges, or I'll first simply apply a planar mapping so that, okay, I will apply planar mapping from top, that is y-axis. Okay, good enough, so that we will be able to move it into that location. I'll select all these UVs, scale it small, take it closer, I'll zoom in. Okay, so let me make it smaller. Okay, so let me just take it here, and now let me find out where which area is getting connected. Not this one, not this one, not this one, not this one. What happened? Okay, this one goes here, so that gets connected here, and I think the other side should be going here. So what the best thing that we can do is we'll split it here, split, and this set of UVs we can move here, and the other set we will move to the other side. So this one goes here, I'll say move in so, that goes there, and this one should go here. So I'll choose move in so. Now it doesn't look so good, so I'll just go ahead and choose UVs, select all these UVs. Let's try to do a little unfold so that it should unfold and do it perfect. So if it's not looking as good as you expected, you can just pull them separately manually. I can pick these two, move them inside, move these two things inside. We can try to match up. I'll pick this up, move it down, and pick this up, move it inside. And finally we can also do one more little unfold. So select this, to shell, unfold. Okay, that's good enough. Let me check these vertices. Where does this come from? So let me go to shell. Okay, this is from this bottom area, not a problem. I can just scale it smaller, just keep it there. Pick this one, to shell, that is the other side, not a problem. I can scale it, just keep it aside, it's not going to affect. Select this one, control right click and choose to shell. Where is this? This is the head area, that also not a problem. Since we have a head, it will not be a problem at all. So that is how we can unwrap UVs to make the file ready to take it to Photoshop to texture paint. So in the next lecture we will see how we can take this to Photoshop and texture paint in Photoshop.